Hey everybody, welcome back to Jetlag. This is season 2, episode 5. And last time we were talking with LPX and we were talking about the touring industry and what, creative artists are going through this time period without being able to play live shows and how they feel locked up. This time we're going to be talking about a similar thing, but not with music artists, but with us and with industry professionals and tourism and traveling. And so let's look at the American scene of domestic and international tourism. I got some stats here. In U.S. citizen domestic tourism, Americans take 2.29 billion domestic trips each year. That is a staggering number. And for international inbound tourism, annually there are 79.6 million international visitors to the U.S. each year. And so not domestic, but travel and tourism overall accounts for 7% of the total private industry employment, so non-government jobs. And it directly supports about 9 million jobs in the US, which was actually an increase of 1.2% from 2018. So it's a huge industry. We're looking at, roughly a tenth of the entire economy of the US is supported by travel, both domestic and international. So certain cities have obviously been impacted more than others, right? So if we look at a city like Las Vegas, they've been affected a huge amount because their entire city runs off tourism and a lot of international tourism, and the people who live there generally prop that up. So they're kind of on the extreme end of things where they're a city that is now, even in the midst of uncertain times, scrambling to reopen casinos, whether they should or not. I mean, the jury's kind of out on that. But it's something they got to do because their city literally runs off tourism. But that's not necessarily characteristic of most of the rest of the U.S. We have a lot of other big cities where people do normal American things and go about their American lives, yet there's still a healthy domestic and international tourism scene. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And we have Lisa Catron from Memphis Tourism here today. She's the international sales manager. And she's going to be talking to us about what it's been like in Memphis, a city that is pretty well-rounded in terms of how it functions, both, Americans who are from there and do their thing, but there's a lot of travel. I mean, this is a hotbed of Southern hospitality, food, music. Records from B.B. King and Johnny Cash and Elvis were recorded at the legendary Sun Studios. So it's not your average city either. So Lisa, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today. And let's start with, how's the weather there today?
Wow, the weather is awesome. The weather, I say right now is right at 84 degrees. So
a little toasty.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, well,
cool.
Yes, we're a toasty city. We love
That's for sure.
Let's go back a little bit here and let's talk about 2018 and 2019. And what did the tourism scene feel like and look like in those years, without a global pandemic, even in anybody's minds? What were things like? What's an average year prior to this look like in Memphis?
Well, 2018, I can tell you, oh gosh, international, globally, especially with Australia and New Zealand, they recognize that Memphis has always been a hot spot when it comes down to Beale Street. You got those bars staying open to about 4 a.m. You're dancing. Either you're at the Peabody Hotel. Larry, you've been to the Peabody Hotel. They have those rooftop parties and just having a good time. So
with the Ducks, do the Ducks get to come to the party as well?
Absolutely, they got their own penthouse, that's for sure. So they dancing right along with us, overlooking mighty Mississippi River. Andrew, it's just something about Memphis, the Mississippi River. The deepest, the widest that you can get to. I mean, as far as the river cruises, it's just a vibrant, sizzling city, that kisses the mighty Mississippi River.
So what makeup of tourism do you guys regularly see there in terms of domestic versus international? And, what are some of the interests that people have when they're doing those things?
Okay, when it comes down to international and also domestic, I work both of those markets. So I'll go ahead and start with international first. I think, just by me speaking with you all, it's the language, it's the tone, it is the soul. You can feel the soul of Memphis. You can taste, you can smell. It's just something about the people and the water that just makes you feel good. That's what I can tell you so much about the international market, because they embrace us just the way we sound, we talk. We got that little country going on, but it's almost like we're singing. So it's just an attractive history about the Deep South. People are interested in the music. People are interested in the history. People are interested in the food. So it's just amazing. Even with me, if I'm driving down on Highway 61, which is the crossroads, the blues, I can go pull into a dirt road going down south, and you can see kids just waving at you. You cannot get that anywhere else. That's what makes Memphis on top of everything. We always been on the forefront from the very beginning when it comes down to the music. It started from the hymns, from hymns to gospel to blues, rock and roll that drifted into soul, baby. Drifted into soul.
So obviously that's going to be a huge draw, because as an international traveler, you could look at, New York and LA, and you kind of know what you're getting in terms of like the buildings, and there's the music and the fashion and whatnot. But I personally know a lot of Australians when I was living there, and they were coming to the US. They're like, yeah, we're going to start in New York, and we're going all the way down the coast, all the way in and around and through the South. And it was a really high interest point for them, because they knew how different it was. And it's exactly how you're making it sound. It's funny because, I'm a West Coast guy. It's probably all over my voice. But this does shoe into the conversation too. The US is not like other countries, because we have 50 states that are all very different. Maybe California to Washington or Arizona has a lot more similarities because we're so close. But if we go all the way over to the South or the East Coast, it can be like a whole different world. So being that that's true though, what were you looking forward to in Memphis tourism, and what were you guys excited about? And when did you know that something big was happening with the pandemic we're in right now?
What I was looking for in Memphis tourism when I started is, I wanted to sell Memphis to the world.
Are you born and raised in Memphis too?
Born and raised.
Okay.
Born and raised, been here all my life. And that's something that I always wanted to do. I started in the hotel industry, actually at the age of 16. So I've been in the industry for 34 years.
It's your whole life, yeah.
So I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, the struggle, seen the blessings and more blessings on top of blessings. So, it actually took me 8 years to get to Memphis tourism, and I'm here. And I got a chance to see Memphis grow so beautiful. And all the hard work that Regina Bearden, she's my CMO. Also all the hard work of our president, Kevin Kane, and our representative for Australia and New Zealand, which is Chris Ingram, has done such a phenomenal job. Not just, just spreading the word, but just bringing people over and introducing them to our city. And then when the pandemic happened, I never will forget. I was in LA. I just got through doing some sales calls. I was at Destination America, one of the top receptive operators that work with Kentucky as well, from out of Australia. And, we didn't really just think it was just going to be just that big. But once it really hit, and I'm seeing people walking around with masks, and LA was one of the big cities at the time. California was the one that really put it out there. And I said, okay, this is serious. So everyone was canceling. ITB had canceled because that was the week we were going to go to ITB in March as well. All this took place in February as we speak. And I said, okay, this is real. This is really real. So when my colleague, Milton Howery, and myself got back to Memphis, we had a conversation with our president and also Regina Beard, and they said, you guys, we got to take this serious. We may be going home and working out of our homes until we have further notice. And the streets was empty. It seemed like everything had died.
And is that both from tourists and, local standpoint too?
Yeah. As far as the meetings, as far as the conventions,
right.
The restaurants, everyone had took a hit. The hotels, I have so many friends and also family that work in hotel. It just devastated me because so many people have gotten furloughed or even laid off, and I'm looking at, this is my responsibility. This is what's on me. I got to take care of them. They're like my family, and to see that happen, it's just heartbreaking. I try to stay in touch with all my hoteliers, my attractions, the restaurants. Hello, how you doing? What's going on with you? How can I help you? So what they spoke with me about, just to let you know, is, how they all came together with hands on deck to putting them in different jobs, different duties. As you can have a director of sales doing housekeeping work. You can have a general manager down into laundry, folding towels.
So were they staying open? Were the hotels still operating at
some of the hotels? Yeah, some of the hotels were still operating. We only had 2 to actually close.
Wow.
And that made it difficult too, because my receptive operators needed to know who they need to get in touch with for contracting, because they wanted to contract for 2021 and also for 2022. And that was my job, is to reach out to all the general managers to see who was there, who was not there, to update all the contacts, get these contracts, and not knowing about the borders, not knowing about the flights. We're constantly in touch with our international representatives, telling us we don't know when the border will be open. If we do go across the pond, which we call it in the UK, we may be quarantined for 14 days if we go to a show. So the shows being canceled, it's been devastating to our industry as well, the travel industry. On the destination side, Andrew, that you had mentioned, as far as buses are concerned, you gotta realize it's a lot of seniors are on those buses.
Yeah, that's right.
So, safety and security, and they are more so at risk than anything. So right now, the buses are trying to get their brain around how we're going to transport these people and be able to make revenue. So that means for one bus, they're going to have 2 buses. That means how they're going to have measures in place, how they're going to put that out there to their customers, with the fogger, the sanitizer, the mask. I mean, they still hadn't got their mind wrapped around it.
Right.
Well, there's the cost element. I mean, the cost element of PPE that all the businesses are having to factor in. on top of the reduced capacity, it's unsustainable for so many businesses across across the world right now.
Yes, it is. And then I want to talk about the student industry. I've been on several webinars, and they play a very important part of that too, especially students in sports. You got a marching band, right? You got kids on the bus together. So they have to separate at least about 2 buses. But it's the factor if you have a gentleman playing the tuba and then you have someone that's playing percussion, they got to blow. So what's going to go in there? Okay.
Yeah.
Something's got to go in there when you blow. So if that kid is infected or may not, you don't want the other kid to catch it. So those are some safety measures. I said, wow, I didn't think about that.
The tuba boy will be in a bubble next time. Is that?
Yeah, it will be. Just today, just to let you all know, I went to a couple of hotels, when we talked about, I know that Chris had mentioned about Guest House at Graceland and also Central Station.
Has Guest House opened? Is that open for the public now?
Yes. Graceland, the attraction is open for the public, as well as Guest House at Graceland.
Did that close at any point, or is that stayed open?
It stayed open. It stayed open, and they furloughed a lot of their key employees that I'm in touch with, because it was pretty difficult to try to get FIT contracts, because you may have a catering person that has never done FIT. So you have to break it down and explain to them, where they have to call their revenue manager to make sure they can open up the platform, so each of the platforms can talk to each other so they can accept the rates. So it's been a struggle. It has been a struggle, but we gotten through it all together. We gotten through it. But the safety measures for the hotels, 6 feet apart. They have the petitions up, the screens that's up for safety.
At like reception and yeah.
So I've seen that. And I asked one of the sales managers that I've spoken with, I said, what about the buffets? I said, how are y'all? I said, that's going to be kind of risky there. She said, no, they're just going to get the food and serving them themselves. I said, oh, okay. So that may change too. The restaurants now, moving forward, we are in phase 3 in Memphis, so that's promising for us. Yay! So we have been doing a great job on social distancing, following the rules and regulations. They have made it along where we have to wear our masks outside in public. Beale Street has opened back up with live music.
Oh, wow.
That just took place last week. Yeah, so I was really happy about that.
And who's going? Is it just locals at the moment? Are people coming in from interstate? What's the travel looking like right now in America, especially for Memphis?
Focus, I know, like I said before, we've always been ahead of the game with the music and activations, but our focus has been on the 300 and 600-mile radius for leisure market. So what my CMO, Regina Bearden, and we have done, along with the digital team and marketing team, was contact these hotels and try to get steals and deals. So we put that in place, and they're doing a huge marketing campaign on Memphis to bring in people from, say, for instance, Arkansas, Alabama, Atlanta, all the way up to Dallas, even Chicago. They're coming down. They're coming down in spite of festivals being canceled. The Southern Heritage just was canceled. Memphis in May was just canceled.
And all the conferences as well.
Yeah. But the good thing I can say with the conferences, the hotels and different things like that, Larry, I can say that we got new hotels that's coming up. The convention center will be ready in late fall. I do have Travel South International coming into Memphis, Tennessee to introduce the internationals to what Memphis product is all about. We have,
And when's that supposed to be?
That's going to take place in 2023. It was for 2022, but they pushed it back. New Orleans did have it, and they just felt like that, with the flights and everything that's happening, they just didn't think they were going to get a big, turnout on the internationals coming in. So I can understand that.
Yeah,
but
that's going to be the hardest thing, I think, in terms of tourism in America. Tourism everywhere. I mean, Australia, the borders are closed until next year. No one can enter Australia. It's a bit different in America, but the customer confidence has got to be there. So, is your focus going to be that sort of 600-mile radius for at least the short term?
Yeah, I think just for the short term, but I gave my boss some really good news. I just last week have booked 12,000 room nights alone from one tour operator.
Wow.
But I'm really crossing my fingers to make sure that those borders are open, because they start in February of 2021. So that's primarily from your area out of Australia and also in Europe. So that's really good.
That's very promising.
Also, yeah, and then just yesterday, I was telling my boss, I said, hey, I just booked 9,000 room nights in Memphis. So I think the things that we have done, with the Music Hub, with being in touch with you guys, doing podcasts, doing webinars, doing training. I'm sending out videos globally. I've sent you guys a video on Dante Everhart doing a international dedication, and people put that on their social media platform. It says a lot. It says a lot. We're staying on top of the mind. We're being sensitive at the same time, but always being on top of the mind. So
sounds like you guys are with open arms and just saying, hey, when you're ready, you come here first.
Yeah. Hey, and our tagline is in spirit and soul, baby. I gotta put that
That's right.
in spirit and soul.
In spirit and soul.
Yeah,
and then at the end in parentheses, or else.
But Andrew, I guarantee you, once you get here, you definitely gonna be bringing your family back over and over again, because it's something that you can't get anywhere else. We are the real Americana.
Mm-hmm.
We're original, we're authentic, we haven't changed anything. We have the history there. You got National Civil Rights Museum.
Yep.
You have Graceland.
Mm-hmm.
You have Sun Studio. I'm telling you about museums that's one of a kind you can't get anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
You got Slave Haven, the Underground Railroad, the Safe House. You have Ernestine and Hazel's. You got the Arcade restaurant, where it's known for, its famous peanut butter banana sandwiches, where Elvis dined. A lot of history is located in Memphis, Tennessee. A lot of history.
Looking forward, I wanted to ask you, as an industry professional in tourism, this could be about Memphis or the whole industry, but what do you think anything is going to be permanently different because of this? And also, where do you think we're going? What are the positives and what are some of maybe the negatives that you feel like might be a result of this? Because this is crazy. It's a once in a lifetime thing we're all going through.
Yeah. The positive, I'm gonna start with that first. And the positive is what we're doing right now. Doing podcasts, being able to reach across the globe, giving our information. We're doing a lot of virtual tours, being in touch more and more with our hotels. I know it's everybody has smaller communities. They can be in touch with their hotels with a phone call, but I know with Memphis, I can touch at least about 20 people a day, at the hotel, and maybe I can take them on the sales call, 3 tour operators to meet. So that's going to be different. Instead of them being in the car with me, they are doing an actual virtual sales call with me. So that's going to be the new norm as well. And also the new norm is training, doing a lot of training and a lot of messaging, a lot of videos. That's going to be different for us. As far as
in regards to the safety, the new safety regulations.
Yeah, with the new safety regulations. Yeah, that's gonna be really, really weird. I wouldn't say weird, but it's gonna be different. It's gonna be different, but we gotta adjust to it. It's gonna be the new norm of tourism. And when you had spoken about not just tour and travel, I can tell you what my sales manager spoken with me on. It's the now. Who are they bringing in? Traveling nurses. Also, sometimes you have to go back into the old-fashioned way. When I used to be in the hotel industry, come up with various rates for transportation. We're talking about trucking. That's all. You got to get your food. You got to get all your, clothes, different things like that. So they're concentrated on trucking, bereavement. We hate to say that, but people coming in from out of town, visiting their loved ones. Weddings are is taking off like crazy. Family reunions, although they're smaller, but family reunions are coming up more and more. And the leisure is really coming up, especially it's hitting us on the weekends more so than anything. So during the week, it's picking up. I'm calling my hotels. They usually say, well, Lisa, we only have 2 rooms, but now it's like 150 rooms. It's 200 rooms. And it's making me feel good. I said, wow, I'm doing something right. Somebody's doing something, but I think it depends on the community coming together, all hands on deck, working together, communicating with each other. We can get through it. We all can get through it. And not just in Memphis, with our neighboring cities like Nashville, in Mississippi, you got Tupelo, you got Natchez and Jackson, Mississippi, communicating with them, letting them know what's going on. If we all get together and be on the same accord, we can make some beautiful music, baby. Definitely.
So
Memphis knows a thing or two about that.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
So let's just fast forward a year, okay? And let's say we've got a vaccine and the height of this is gone, right? But I feel like this opened up some new doors, right? With new problems that people didn't think were going to affect these industries, we're dealing with it right now. Do you think anything's going to be permanently different, or is this something that we're going to look back on and remember as just a weird time?
It's going to be permanently different. I can tell you this. You definitely going to be staying in some clean hotels. super clean hotels. So that's a plus. Because I don't know if you all saw on the news on CNN and also on World News, they having a fogger, they fogging everything down, especially with the buses, they're doing the same thing. Those things are definitely going to change. I mean, the hotel's always been clean, but I think they're going to a whole nother level.
They'll be sparkling now.
Yeah, now even the restaurants, I think everything is going to be paper.
Yeah, when I was just thinking about that. Yeah, even a year or 2 from now, you're still going to pick up a menu and we're all going to be looking at laminate and be like,
Yeah. And then eating outside on the patios, open space, and then on tourism side, the great outdoors. People are concentrating on, it's healthy. It's about the health. It's bike riding. It's about hiking, national parks. We have state parks here. I know we have Shelby Farms here and Shelby Forest Parks. And a lot of people are doing that now. As far as, renting out the equipment, That's another thing you got to think about, because you got to make sure that the equipment is clean and sanitized.
Mm.
So people are, as you can see, you all shop at Walmart and Target and look down in the sporting area. Every bike in the world is pretty much sold out.
Yeah,
So everybody's getting their own bikes, such as what you're doing now, with this podcast. A lot of people are communicating on the podcast. Music is going to change, and I tried doing that, introducing a lot of music artists. If they can't do the, live concert outside, you can do your concert, virtually, singing one-on-one, charge a small amount of price, to see that concert. Even I'm going to do something a little bit different with a lot of our Memphis artists and have them sing in front of that particular attraction, so they can say, hey, that's Graceland. Hey, National Civil Rights Museum, have a gospel choir, sing in front of that church, the attractions, the showcase social distancing, so that's something that I've been working on those those projects for Memphis. So,
well, to be honest, talking to you, it just almost makes me feel like nothing's happening, because you guys are going forward at full speed and making it happen, and you got a smile on your face, and I'm like, shoot, this feels great.
I feel good. I'll be honest with you, Larry, Andrew, I feel really good about my city. When it comes down to Memphis, I bleed the blood of the mighty Mississippi River. When it comes down to the spirit and soul, I'm so passionate about my city. We're some resilient people. We bounce back. Nothing is going to hold us down. We've been through this in the past, and looking forward through the future. I have a strong intuition that it's going to be better than ever. That's Memphis. That's Memphis. It is the home of the blues, soul, and rock and roll. I really encourage you to come down to Memphis.
Dude, I'm booking ticket as soon as I get off this Zoom call.
we probably can pay for it now, Andrew. Come on.
I can almost smell the dry rub, right now.
It's barbecue. Now, Larry, did you go to Gus's Fried Chicken? Did Chris tell you about Gus's Fried Chicken?
I've been to Gus's Fried Chicken. I certainly have.
Well, you got to go to Four-Way Grill. That's some soul food. They have live music. Chris loves that place as well. And then also along with that, you definitely got to go to Peggy's. Peggy's is another place you need to go to. So it literally takes at least about a good, I say 4 days and 3 nights in Memphis. I won't 4 nights, to be honest with you, but to really see the really hot spots, you got to go to all the neighborhoods and dine with the locals, and
and come hungry.
Yeah,
come hungry.
That's right. So that leads to I'll be sending you all some barbecue seasoning.
I'm getting so hungry just talking about all this. Well, that's awesome.
Where's my nearest rib joint? I need to.
No, that's awesome, Lisa. I really appreciate you coming on here and talking to us about the city, but also just the industry as a whole. As somebody who's traveled quite a bit on my own, and Larry as well, and I even worked with Tourism Australia for a while, and so I can understand their interests in what makes that industry move. And right now, I mean, it's hard not to blame anybody for sweating bullets right now, because the whole thing is paused. But as you've shown us today, and as you've talked about, there's still a lot that can be done. There's a lot of things to look forward to. There's a lot of pivots that can be made. And I think you made a good point, when all hands are on deck and people have got their mind around getting through it together, it doesn't seem quite as bad. And I think that's a big takeaway from this, but you got to stay resilient. It's easy to lose sight.
That's right. That's right.
Well, that's awesome. I really appreciate you coming on and walking through that with us. This is a great addition to our time capsule of pandemic influenced industries. And, with that, we're going to end on a high note. Thanks for all the encouragement everybody, if you haven't been to Memphis yet and you watch this, what are you doing? You got to go to Memphis. So, yeah. So,
there you go. And look up the Yum Yum girl. All right. And don't call me Yum Yum for nothing. Look at
a Yum Yum. I'm gonna save that for when this is over. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate it.
All right. Peace out.
Thanks for joining us, Lisa, and thanks for listening on the podcast. We'll be back next week for our final episode of the season, where we'll be speaking about the airline industry. Of course, we've referenced them a little bit today in regards to the borders being closed and international flights being put at a pause. What does that mean for the airline industry moving forward? We'll be ending our season on that. And in the meantime, it's great to be speaking on a much more positive note. So thank you, Lisa. We can't wait to come back.
All right. Y'all take care. Bye.